Huzzah, Rangers. This is Phil Harris here at the Jacks Rangers Show. I am joined with some very, very special guests. It's our friends from Mystic River Rugby. We've got Kayne Bubb, a.k.a. Bubba, as well as Douglas Fife III. Dougie Fife is with us. How the hell are you, boys?
Yeah, great. Phil, yourself, mate?
Excellent, excellent. So glad you guys were able to join us. Appreciate you guys very much for coming on here. You're very, very generous with your time. Bubba, I wanted to start this off with you. You were on the show last year with Mystic Legends with Buzzy and Mikey Rudzinski. But for the Rangers that may have missed that episode, please give us a rundown of your personal and rugby background, please.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, look, it's great to be back. Obviously, you know, we're about halfway through our sort of ARP sort of season here. Yep. But yeah, obviously, you know, I've been up here in Boston for about 12 years. Originally, as you can tell from the accent, a Kiwi. You know, came through sort of any age grade, sort of as any Kiwi boy does, playing sort of club rugby in New Zealand. Ended up at Nelson Boys, which is a pretty prestigious sort of rugby school in New Zealand there, and then sort of filtered through the grades and then landed here in Boston. And then when I landed here, literally landed here and sort of reached out and landed with Mystic right away. And then sort of been with the club ever since, really, and seen the club sort of earn its stripes, be very low level in D1 now to sort of earning national championships, and now sort of trying to push in that sort of in between space between club and that sort of professional era, which is what we're sort of trying to strive and stay in that competitive realm.
Yeah, for sure. It's so glad to see you, involved in this process with Mystic. You are the head coach, of course, for the team during this ARP journey here in the midway through the season at this point. So we'll get a little bit more into that in a moment. But I wanted to talk to the guy to your left there, Douglas Fife III. So glad that you were able to join us here, Dougie. This is the first time that we've had a Six Nations try-scorer on the show. So I appreciate you jumping on here. Dougie, before you joined MLR, you played with Scotland in USA Rugby's first and only ever win against a Tier 1 nation down there in Houston. Caitlin and I were at that game. I've actually got a photo that I want to show you here. Here it is. There's Caitlin, myself, and her best friend, Gina, and her mom there in Houston. It was hot as hell and very, very humid that night. But I had some great memories of that game. But you scored right there at the death, and Scotland had a chance to, I think, win the game with the conversion, but they missed it. What do you remember about that night?
I remember, like you said, it was absolutely roasting. I think it was a really late kickoff as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like 7 or 8 o'clock at night. Yeah.
Even then, we were like struggling from the first whistle with the heat. USA had a really good team back then. Yeah. So Scotland were pretty stacked. A lot of young boys though, the Finn Russell, Stuart Hogg, everybody was playing, but they're a bit younger back then.
Right.
But like you said, we managed to get a try in the corner, and then Blair Kinghorn, another young boy, he was probably one of his first couple of games. And he stepped up and missed it, and it's a game we kind of tried to forget in Scotland, to be honest.
Absolutely.
It's hard for me to avoid it here. Everybody brings it up every couple of months.
I got to tell you, man, that's one of those big time moments for USA Rugby. Like it's interesting because that team was very, very good. And like, you've seen what's happened with USA Rugby since then. It hasn't been great per se. So, they have to figure it out and pick up the pieces and move forward, obviously, because we have the World Cup here in the United States just down the road in a couple of years. But yeah, that was a great moment for sure. I think that's my only USA Rugby. No, that's not true. I saw them in Canada prior to the 2015 World Cup, but that's the only time that I've seen them on US soil. And it was so cool to see you there at the game and, just have that awesome experience. It was humid as hell. I remember in the pregame warmups, I remember Scotland coming back into the tunnel, because Caitlin and I were right there in the tri-zone area, just beyond it, and you guys looked like, what the fuck? You guys were like just amazed at like how humid it was. Like people were shaking their head, like on the Scotland team, like what is happening?
I think I think the week before we were up in Canada, which was completely different. And we just flew down there for like, I think maybe like 4 days, probably max, before that game. So that was a huge shock for us. Yeah. And then we went to Argentina after that, and thankfully got back on the win, so it's good.
Very good. You're one of the Rangers' favorite all-time Free Jacks. I think that's fair to say. We hear your name constantly popping up, even though you don't play with the Free Jacks anymore. Like, you're kind of a legend in these circles, the Ranger circles and the Free Jack circles. What is your all-time favorite memory as a Free Jacks player?
Well, funny you mentioned that. It probably was what you guys put on for me that last game. I think it was the first season.
Yep.
The Scottish one. I think who did we play? We played Atlanta at home.
Yeah, that's right. That was the first Fort Quincy game, if I'm recalling correctly. Yeah. How about that?
That was awesome. Like, I remember seeing you guys put stuff on the internet, social media about it, but I didn't think it was going to be kickoff. People would actually do it. And then as we were driving there, you just see all like the kilts and stuff. It was pretty surreal. And then to get the wind and the fireworks and seeing all you guys coming out.
That was great.
That's one I'll never forget for sure.
Absolutely, man. We all, a bunch of us had, I think a couple of us had the whole Braveheart makeup on, like the face paint. It was pretty cool. And I remember like hanging out with you after the game, and like I was trying to take a photo with you, and it was a new phone at the time, so I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. So you were very, very patient with me. I remember that. That was really cool. But yeah, that was a good time for sure.
Yeah, man, I love that. Yeah, I remember. I think it's a 20-minute water break as well.
Yeah,
Braveheart on, and you guys are on the field, which is just something you're not used to in the UK. Like,
that's
crowd
right.
on the fields. The whole thing was nuts.
That's a great description of how the Free Jacks are very, very community. Like, let's get the fans involved. Like, that wouldn't happen in other professional settings where there's a water break and the fans are just on the field. Like, if that's happening, something catastrophic has gone wrong, right? But not at the Free Jacks, man. Not at Fort Quincy. Bubba, I wanted to ask you. Joel Hintz is your cousin. Can we expect the Bulldog to return to the Free Jacks in 2024? Have you spoken to him recently? I know that the NP season is about to wrap up.
Yeah, obviously, you probably see the jerseys behind me. You know, the two Free Jacks from this year are both through him and the team there. But yeah, obviously, Hincy landed. It was great, pretty special to have a family member here on the ground with us. And yeah, so I actually was talking to him about a day or 2 days ago. Actually, of all things, everyone knows Hincy's a bit of a wild man. Loves his hunting, and he goes, "Bubba, can I send something to your house?" I'm like, yeah, mate, and it's something. He goes, "Oh, it's some part for refurbishing his gun to go hunting with." I'm like, "Oh, I got to ship this to New Zealand. This is going to go real well." But, thanks, mate. But yeah, no, he's obviously going real well down there at Hawke's Bay. They're tracking really well. I've been watching his games, and obviously Mana's in his team, and Keanu. So those boys are tracking real well. But Joel's on the radar a little bit with Super right down there right now. He loved it. He absolutely adored his time. Him and Becky loved their time up here. So. He's sort of one of those guys. If Super doesn't come knocking on his door, which I'm hopeful that it does, because he deserves a crack at it. He'll be back on the grounds up here. So obviously TK's very closely on the ground on the beeper on that one, running it down. So it's just sort of a little bit contingent on that and where that lands for the young fella.
Absolutely. We wish him the best, obviously. Super Rugby would be a great opportunity for him. But if that doesn't come about this year, it would be great to have him back at the Free Jacks. It's one of those bittersweet things where you're following these guys' career and they're developing as players. So you want them to play at the highest level, but you also want them to still be a part of the Free Jacks. But of course, Super Rugby and the MLR season conflict, unfortunately. So it kind of is what it is. But yeah, would love to have Joel back here. Great personality, great player. I've never met his girlfriend, Becky, but she was up here working on the Davidowitz's farm, and she made the corn maze that Caitlin and I tried a couple weekends back. And we're like, this is so hard that we're just going to quit. Like, because it started raining like 20 minutes later, so we made the right choice. We're like, to hell with this. We're leaving. It was that good. It's a very, very good corn maze, guys. If you haven't done it yet, make sure you check out Crescent Farms in Haverhill, Massachusetts. Tell them Phil sent you. But, Dougie, I wanted to ask you were traded down to New Orleans before the start of last season. What was the experience like playing for the Gold in 2023? I made a couple memes where, like, you were in their jersey, and I was, like, throwing up because it was so disgusting to see you not in the red, white, and blue. But, what was your experience down there like?
It was a pretty awesome experience, to be honest. It's, like, so different to Boston. As much as I love Boston, like, New Orleans had a lot of good things as well. One being, like, the weather, obviously. I missed the Boston winters, which you see rough. Just the whole culture is different, the food, the people, everything. I love they have awesome facilities there as well, which is a huge part that I really enjoy with NOLA. They have the meetings, changing rooms, gym, nice grass pitch, everything you kind of want as a player.
Nice.
So that kind of stuff was good. Obviously, I think every rugby club I've been at, the people make it. So those guys are pretty cool as well. So all in all, it was a good experience.
Very good. Happy to hear that for sure. But I wanted to ask you, I can't have you on here without asking, is there a possible reunion in the future with the Free Jacks? Is that in the cards at all? I mean, I know that you're up here now. What's the situation like with that?
I know I might be helping out in the next couple of weeks with the Sevens kind of academy stuff.
Yeah, sure.
So I'll be down at Quincy there in terms of playing, and you never know rugby, you know. So obviously Free Jacks is a big part of my heart, of course. So I never write it off for sure.
Yeah, never say never, folks. It could happen. You never know for sure.
Yeah, that's part of the thing why he's turning out in the Mystic jersey, just to make sure, you know, just test the waters a bit.
Absolutely. That blue is very close to the, you know, the navy blue that the Free Jacks rocks. So, I mean, you know, we'll see what happens, right? Bubba, Mystic is in the thick of it now with the 2023 American Rugby Premiership. 2 wins, 1 loss, and that one loss just came last weekend in a very, very close game. I think it was down to the wire there, like maybe the last second try for Old Blue to win that game. But give us your overall impressions of the season so far.
Yeah, look, you know, it's a new season. Obviously, the way out the ARP is obviously the North's really the clubs, which are, you know, with White Plains, Nyack, Old Blue, and ourselves.
Sure.
They're all really strong clubs, which is awesome. Then there's the ARP South with Nola's academy team, sort of, you know, Dougie, a lot of his guys who play in the MLR on that side. Life University in there, which obviously they've got a bit disjointed with obviously the whole Orlando MLR process there. So that's sort of, you know, it happened just before the start of the season. And because of that obviously just changed. Then we got the Tennessee Elite into the league there. They came on late just to fill a void because obviously it was meant to be the Atlanta sort of academy team.
Yes.
But yeah, so the comp's really strong, and the level of rugby each year has gone up and up and up, which has been, you know, which is great. You know, I think that's sort of, you know, there's a real bridge in between sort of just normal clubs, social rugby to performance rugby to the MLR. And that's really what the ARP's pushing to be, is to be that premier sort of, you know, pathway rugby for it. And so for us, it's an awesome place. The level's great. And, you know, each year you see a different sort of, it's not the same players turning out. And, you know, even, you know, for us at Mystic, you know, we've had a really strong recruitment tool, you know, with our spring season, you know, sort of somewhat backing off it a little bit, allowing us to focus on it. You know, TC and the Sevens program that Dougie was actually helping coach for us over the summer.
Yeah.
We have a big sort of college youth system that comes through that. And now we're starting to see dividends where some of those guys are now coming out of college and staying in the area to play 15. So we've got some really exciting talent. And I, you know, mixed in with some of these Free Jacks boys, you know, which is amazing. You know, the fact, you know, club rugby is, you know, for us, club rugby will always be club rugby. We don't desire to be anything else. You know, we don't pay our players at Mystic. Everyone, you know, we don't pay any of our top guys. So they're out of goodwill. And so it's really had off to them turning up. So, you know, what you see there is a real good sort of pathway of guys who are young, new on the scene, right up to what, you know, luckily we've got Dougie donning the jersey, putting on the boots, all the way through to someone who's played international rugby at the highest level. And you've got everything between, which for a club is unreal, really special. And so the development and just creating that pathway and the environment, the community around it is something special. And I think, you know, this year's team that Mystic's got, we've got some really exciting talent with, you know, a guy named Carson who was with Dallas in Utah. We've got Nolan Buckley, who was one of the first draft picks out of UMass Lowell, who went to Dallas. Didn't actually play a game because he got injured, but he's back in the era and he's actually donning our jersey this year, which he's a real talent. I'm really excited about where he could go. We've got actually a guy who actually played for Nola, a guy named Billy Stewart, who played Mystic Youth.
Okay.
And he's been down at Nola, what, 5-6 years? Well, I think one of the original players is from Providence.
Okay.
And he's back in the area with his wife. He's just doing his fireman papers.
Nice.
He's come back and he's playing for us. I'm hoping that he plays well enough that maybe he might be seen in and out around the Free Jacks environment this season.
Nice.
But I tell you what, he's a special talent. And then obviously you got guys like Eagle, Holden, Ethan. And we've got someone special appearing on our roster this week, which I won't reveal the name, will come out, but I'm excited to have him amongst our club. So it's looking good. We're 2-1. We've got in the next round we've got 2 home games, 1 away. So all going well. We're really going to hit our stripes. We're going to click. I can feel it. And when it clicks for us with this talent we've got, it's going to be a really special season, and how we're going to play the game and what the results we're going to get. So, we'll see how where it finishes. But my current feel is that this is going to be something really unique for Mystic, local club scene, and where we're going with it.
Bubba, you got me fired up, man. I'm ready to put on a jersey and play myself. It's been a long time, but I'm ready to put my boots on and let's see what happens, right?
Hey, we always welcome it, mate. And obviously, you come out to training, mate. You get to run around with the boys. The great thing about Mystic is we don't divide. So you're literally these guys are training with these guys. They're running, they're hitting. We obviously separate when we need to do our team runs, but everything else is together. So if anyone else here wants to get a shot on Dougie or something like that, come on down. He's a bit brittle in his old age, but he'll still take them.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I'd be blowing wind on the sideline. I'll tell you that for sure. But this is so cool. Like I really am fired up to watch this game this weekend because you've got the guys that are on the roster for the Free Jacks, but also got these up-and-coming guys that could make the roster, could be development guys for the Free Jacks, or could be on other rosters in MLR. Like Connor Robinson is a kid that I just look at and just say, awesome kid from the Boston area, played Mystic his whole life pretty much, went to Boston College, played there, got drafted, he played with the Free Jacks development squad, then got traded to Dallas, has been on their roster, and he comes back and just the game that I saw with you guys 2 weekends ago, like he did fantastic. I think he was the man of the match for you guys in that game. Just a fantastic player. I really hope to see him back on a Free Jacks roster at some point in the near future.
He's a great kid, and his talent. He's someone who personally, I don't think he's hit its ceiling. He's in the MLR. He's developed. Actually, Dallas was a really good place landing spot for him in the last season because he was under the Argentina scrum coach, and what he learned inside that tight five, and how he's come back a bit bigger and thicker, absolutely. But his set piece stuff, his throwing, is really up there now. And I know, he's a real consideration, real great American talent. Obviously there's some real competition at that 2 spot here at the Free Jacks, but across the league, someone like him, there's always going to be a spot with him, and I honestly think he can even push higher. So he's a big run of money,
Very encouraging to hear for sure. Like, these kids just need playing time, right? And this is what the American Rugby's Premiership, it does for these young, developing, talented players is they have to play, and they should be playing against high competition. And MLR isn't around right now. It's the off season. So we need these competitions, these pathways to push these guys and help them develop into the best players that they can be. That's why I love this competition. I wanted to ask you, Dougie, we have heard that you've been developing and helping coaching out there with the Mystic Sevens practices, as Bubba was saying, over the summer. But how did the decision come about of joining Mystic as a player in this competition? Was it Bubba just kind of like beating you down about it? Like he was just like erosion. Like he's just going to eventually he's going to get you.
But also I've been helping the Mystic for a couple of years now, going out and like just kind of we have so much off time here, is give something back to the local game. But my last couple of years being out here, it's just between your last game at MLR to your next game, it's far too long, I think, to just be sitting and just in your own training. So it's great to just get out there and put your boots on again and play. It's like 6 games, as we say, in the league, really high quality. I'm pretty surprised how good it is, to be honest. It keeps you ticking over for sure. That was a big one for me.
That's great to hear. I mean, you're saying that the competition's pretty good, right? Yeah. Like, you've played in 2 matches so far from Mystic. I mean, your overall impressions is that it's pretty good competition out there?
Yeah, I mean, very physical games. I think, the last 2 games we played in were during that hurricane, and then everyone was like a monsoon down in New York. So pretty forward-orientated games, pretty physical. But every team has like 1 or 2 MLR players, like Bubba said, guys who are on the fringe of these teams. So these guys are playing for jobs. So it's pretty. It is a very good game to watch and be part of.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that there's MLR, I wouldn't say scouts, but the guys that are responsible for, filling out rosters, these general managers that are watching these games are paying close attention. So, these kids out there that want shots at MLR, they're going out there and giving it their all every single game, which is very, very awesome to see. Yeah. Bubb, I wanted to ask you, what is it like having a player of Dougie's experience out in practices and games? I mean, like, that must be like a coach's dream, right?
Mate, yeah, Dougie, there's a way, Dougie's unreal, and we've had guys like Seth and all that, and, someone who I haven't mentioned is, Josh Larson's also, even though he's also helping me coach and sort of doing a bit of running and that and rehabbing sort of as he builds through. So just having those guys at training is unreal. I'm relatively new and young to the coaching game. I've obviously been around the game for a long time, and the transition into coaching is, probably – was probably should have done it well before I actually did. But, I've learned a lot. And at the club level, the game's very different. And you have to build up a great environment. These guys are truly out there for the love and passion. There's no money in it, and they just love the game. And it's played at a high level. Yeah, it can get intense. Everyone loves a good combat and intense game. But as a coach, my view of a club rugby has changed a little bit. I don't need, especially if Mystics with these players, I don't need to be a dictator. I don't need to be full on with these guys. What I actually need to do is actually just create the guide rails, allow them to play the rugby that they want to play. They're all senior, like, JJ, we even got 2 young kids, one guy named Neil, who's actually drafted by Seattle. He's our starting 8-7. So he's actually was their draft pick last year. He's landed on our doorstep, and his mate, he was an Ireland under-20 player. The input he's having on our side and giving it back, he has a big voice. Everyone on our side has a voice. And, it's about just guiding, creating the platform, allowing them building, getting those, the positive feedback and around it, and just, adjusting ourselves to basically play the rugby that those guys on the field want to play. And obviously having guys like Dougie and that, being able to help drive and create that, it's just next level, and I'm really loving it. It's it's like I said, I think there's something special brewing with this group, and I'm hoping it's something that can move and transition into years to come, and hopefully into next coaches as well, because I think it's very different versus how some of the other clubs and what we see, especially in the American environment.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to point out that we've got a Mystic and Free Jacks legend watching in and commenting, and I haven't been able to get to it until now. Seth, speaking of the devil, is here. He's talking about the Red Ghost, which I believe is Harrison Boyle. Get him back up here. We've got Dougie Fife, proudly sponsored by Popeyes, is what he's saying. Hilarious. And what else we got from Seth? Geez, I'm bricked up after that, Bubb. I think he was talking about when I was ready to, put on my boots and come out for Mystic. Great motivational speaker for sure. Bubb, you definitely you can easily get people fired up. I mean, your passion comes through for the game for sure.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, he's a great boy, and he to this day he still watches the Mystic film and gives us feedback, which is unreal.
Love that.
He still talks, and he's still he's another one. Maybe we can get him back in a Free Jacks jersey.
That'd be great.
And TK, I think he's got another year with the Reds, but new baby, might need a bit of a time overseas. He could be someone, might need to tap the shoulder on.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm sure there's room on the roster for a guy that plays super rugby. Like, why not? Come on back, exactly. For sure. Great player. Question for both of you. I think you kind of covered it a little bit, Bubba. So I kind of want to hear from Dougie about this one. There's a couple, Free Jacks and former Free Jacks on this Mystic roster, but who are some of the other Mystic players that we could see in the red, white, and blue down the line? Like, who's impressed you in practice that you're like, okay, this kid, is not on the Free Jacks or not on MLR right now, but like they're going to be somebody?
I think the guys you mentioned, obviously Neil, 8-7, Irish boy. He's impressed me. You've got wingers like Devin Short. He's electric. Honestly, this guy, if he gets a meter, he's gone. Billy, again, he's obviously played MLR before. Got plenty of experience. You can see him honestly putting a jersey on for Free Jacks as well.
Love it.
There's a lot. The starting 15, honestly, there's a majority of them I would say are got the chance to be at that level.
Excellent. It's very. That's what. Listen, guys. I'm trying to tell you. You need to come to a Mystic game and see these guys play in this schedule. Like, come out to the game against White Plains this weekend. It's 2:30 kickoff. It's in Malden. What's the name of the park?
Pine Banks.
Pine Banks Park. Yeah. Come out to the game. You will not regret it. This is your Uncle Phil talking right now. You're not going to steer you wrong. Come out to a Mystic game. You have to come see this stuff because it's really, really cool. So White Plains at home this weekend. What has been the preparation like so far this week, and what can we expect this Saturday? Anybody who wants to take this one? Yeah.
Oh, you go, Fife.
Well, we've obviously played them before this year. It's the first game of the season. I wasn't playing, sadly, but I seen the footage. It was kind of game of two halves, really. It was our forwards put a real good job on them, and a lot of similarities to Free Jacks game. Actually, a lot of great kick chase, really put them under pressure. They've got a lot of flair Fijians in their squad, so they'll run from anywhere. But we just got to play smart. We've seen a few things from the last couple of games that we can really kind of just get a bit better, just get smarter, get in our rhythm, and mainly think about us. To be honest, we've seen what they can do, but looking forward to it.
Excellent. Bubby, you got anything to add on that one?
No, he's pretty much nailed it. Firstly, we'd like a day where it's not a hurricane or a monsoon. That'd be nice.
That'd be good.
Dry footy and unwindy, but no, exactly. Our prep, it's unique. Like I said, we don't really change much. Club rugby is us, so we still only do Tuesday and Thursday nights. And so we do have limited prep and what you can do and putting install and new stuff in. But for the second round, we have done that. We've been pretty inaccurate with our play in the first 3 weeks. So we're looking to really increase our accuracy, and we've got a couple of special plays, a couple of one of Scotty's specials and a couple of Mardos' specials to up our sleeve. That hopefully, if we get the right look on the field, you might see something out there that you might have seen in a Free Jacks game in the past life. So we're always trying to add something a little bit unique in there just to keep the players engaged and let them have some fun with ball in hand.
Sure. I mean, I think that's important, right? It was like the synergy between the Free Jacks and what they want to do strategically and tactically, trickling down to Mystic. So you got these guys kind of understanding what could take place if they do get the call up, being in that environment, that sort of stuff is important. So it's very, very cool that you guys kind of run a couple of those little trick plays, wink, wink type stuff the Free Jacks like to do. So yeah, that's cool. I'm going to open the floor to both of you to speak directly to the Rangers, the Free Jacks fans out there, the loyal listeners to this show. What do you have to say to them?
First of all, I just want to say, I don't think I've really had a chance to say thanks for the last couple of years, especially that when we talked about the start, the kind of the kilts and things. And even when I came back and played against the Free Jacks, I didn't really know what to expect. But the crowd was awesome again. I remember going down the tunnel after the game and everybody was just chanting away. So thanks. Like I said, not had the chance, but appreciate everything. And then sure, I'll see you guys tons down the years.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, they do an unreal job, right? I remember you at that home game. They were really behind you.
Yeah,
I think you're the only ever player that's played on the veterans here that they've cheered on the opposition.
Right? Yeah.
A bit wrong, but the Free Jack Rangers and the supporters are unreal. Luckily, I've been pretty close with it for the last couple of years, and watch it build up. But I've been on some of the away games with you guys, Washington, especially Chicago with the final.
Yep.
What these people do, spend out of their own back pocket, just out there for the love and passion of it. It's something really unique, and I know, luckily I get to see the other side of it, see both sides of it. Being inside the tunnel, with the boys, they really appreciate it. And they a lot of the foreign boys struggle to understand it a little bit because they go, how are they so passionate traveling, doing this? When, that's not something they're used to. You know what I mean? You get it on the international level, but at some of those provincial club levels, you just don't see it.
Right.
And so it's really unique, but they love it. It's absolutely so. My view is just don't stop. Keep pushing it, keep growing it. It's something very unique in the league. I think you've got, you're really showing how you can actually support and back a team with a different flavor and a presence. And I think what it does to the players is, unreal in the organization. I think, if you spoke to any of them and they gave you an honest view, at first they're a little bit guarded about it because they're a little bit, what is this? We're not used to this. And then by the end of the season, their viewers are totally bought in and absolute love with it. So it's a great thing that you got going on, and just, keep pushing it, keep developing it. And, you got, I'm one of them. So, we won't stop. Hopefully we get to go back out to another final in the next season.
Hell yeah. I've always enjoyed hanging out with you, Bubbs, especially at the away games. I remember that one at New York, like we were kind of standing next to each other and like you were kind of breaking stuff down. I was like, oh, this is interesting. I love, listening to you in real time, checking out the tactics and stuff like that. So I always thought that was very valuable, and I appreciate that very much. Dougie, like, you're a legend, man. Like, you're a Free Jacks legend. Like, you're on the Mount Rushmore, if you will, of the Free Jacks players up until this point. So I really, really appreciate you joining us. And again, Bubbs, you're fantastic, man. I appreciate you so much. We're going to say one word to exit this video, and hopefully I'll see all of y'all at 2:30 on Saturday against White Plains. Come out and support the Mystic Boys. I've got one word in 3, 2, 1. Huzzah!